Well, today, and as I always say, we're going to go deep. It's Colli from Colli Talks, transformative conversations. And if you're digging a well, you got to go deep for the good stuff, right? If you're digging for gold, you got to go deep. So this is all about going deep. So welcome back to Colli Talks. And we're going to peel back the layers of what holds us back sometimes and step into the wild, powerful world and the truth of who we truly are. Today, I have the honor and the joy of welcoming two women whose paths are a testament to the courage it takes to choose passion over prestige and soul over safety. Amy and Nancy Harrington, sisters, business partners, and co-founders of the Passionistas Project. And I love that name. Once held high-profile roles in Hollywood, from crafting Oscar campaigns to overseeing post-production on iconic films like Harry Potter and The Matrix. They walked in worlds many of us only glimpse on the screen. But something deeper was calling. And they answered. So they left it all to create a global movement that amplifies women's voices, celebrates storytelling, and builds safe spaces for truth and transformation and sisterhood. In today's conversation, we're going to dive into the sacred pivot, what it truly takes to leave what no longer aligns, how to navigate fear, and why passion-driven shifts often become the most healing, fulfilling chapters of our lives. So, if you've ever felt the pull to begin again, this episode is your permission slip. So let's get into it. Welcome, ladies. It's an honor to have you both here with me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. That was a beautiful introduction.
Oh, I'm super, like I say, super honored and filled with joy to have you here. So I was going to ask, and play it like you want, whoever wants to answer, or if you both want to answer, I'm looking at you both walking, away from careers that most people dream of. I mean, really, in a fantasy, imaginary world, right? So what was the deeper call underneath that choice?
Yeah, we were both very entrenched in Hollywood. Even after we left our big careers, we had a second career as Hollywood interviewers, and we interviewed celebrities on the red carpet and for other clients. And it was beautiful and glamorous, and it was so much fun to do it together. These were people that we grew up watching on TV.
Right?
But we just had this nagging feeling that something was missing, that we were here to do something more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And around 2016, when the Time's Up and Me Too movements were really in full force, we were hearing all of these amazingly powerful stories about women taking back their power. But we wanted to further that conversation and talk about the women who were following their passions and stepping into their power. So we started our podcast in 2017,
Wow.
and that was really the beginning of this whole movement. It has since turned into an online community and a beautiful movement. But that was really the beginning of it. We just wanted to tell the stories of the women who weren't walking the red carpets and who weren't getting all of the fame and fortune, the women who were really doing the soul work and following their passions and living their best lives. And we wanted to tell those stories.
Oh, how beautiful. So really, it's almost like a soul whisper that wouldn't let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a long and winding road. We left Hollywood because we just felt like there was something more that we needed to do. I mean, we loved our careers, but we both hit a wall with, with what we were doing. And we didn't know what we were going to do. So it was a kind of a leap of faith. We just knew we wanted to work together. And so we did a lot of crazy things and a lot of like, sure, we'll take that job. Okay, yeah, we don't know how to do that, but we'll figure it out until we finally hit the place we're at. So it wasn't an overnight transition from Hollywood to helping women. It was really finding our way. And then once the purpose flick got switched. It was like, oh, this is what we're meant to do. This is why we did all those odd jobs along the way, because we needed those skills to be right where we are right now, doing this thing and serving our community in all these different ways. So it's
Wow.
been fun to look back at that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in a roundabout way, I mean, it's about burnout too, right? And so many women these days are doing that as well and not knowing how to, to ignite their fire because they don't even know who they are right now when they're burning out, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, and that was definitely a big part of where we were at.
mhm.
We left Hollywood it was just burnout. I mean, the hours, especially for Amy, mine was more of a seasonal job, so during Academy Award season, it was crazy. The rest of the year, it sort of evened out, but Amy's job was, 90, 100 hours a week,
Oh,
50 weeks a year, she just never caught a break, so it was a lot of burnout.
oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, there's a myth, in that following, your passion is a luxury. But how did you navigate the fear and the uncertainty or even the judgment when choosing this path you're on?
Mhm.
Oh, it's really funny. When I left Warner Brothers, I remember going to my big boss and saying, I want out of my contract. I want to leave. And he said, you should go, because I was still in my early 30s. I'd been there for
Wow.
about 10 years.
Okay.
And there was, shifts in the structure of the department. So people knew I wasn't really excited about the way things were set up. And he said, you should go because most of us are stuck here.
Oh
We
my
have
goodness.
He said, we have houses, we have boats, we have, kids in college, and you are really in a really independent point in your life. And so take advantage of it and get out now, because otherwise you are going to get trapped. If you really want to get out, you're going to get trapped just by the money.
Wow.
And so I left, and for me the fear was Nancy had done the freelance thing all of her life except for the job she was in at the time.
Right.
She had her own graphic design business and theater company, and she was always independent. I, straight out of school, worked in the entertainment industry, but from the day I got to Hollywood until the day I left Warner Brothers, I had never had more than like a week off, because I just went from job to job. So even though it's a very unstable industry, especially now, I was
Mm-hmm.
very fortunate that I always worked. And then I was at Warner Brothers for 10 years, and 9 of those years I was under contract. So I had a solid gig.
Right.
And I had never really been a true freelancer. So I was just terrified of, like, how am I going to, I just bought a house a couple of years ago. I'm single. How am I going to support myself if this all goes wrong? And Nancy was like, well, you can always sell your house, and it's not going to get to that point because the money always comes when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only fear I've personally experienced. The rest of it was just like this grand adventure with Nancy. I was still young, so I knew I had time to pivot if I needed to pivot. And so, but the money was the scary thing. And Nancy has pretty much always been right. Like, the money does come when you need it. And so she taught me over the years to just, like, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be fine. It's coming. We have enough right now. It's gonna be fine. But that's been the only thing that's scary. The rest of it has been exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other fear, that a lot of people face when they do it, when they go out on their own, is the fear of doing it alone and being
Right.
alone. And I think that because we had each other, we really never faced that fear,
Oh.
So we're so lucky in that, and that is why we wanted to build the sisterhood we built, because we
Mm-hmm.
wanna give to other women,
Yeah, it's so important, right? I know I'm a solo, and oh yeah, there's sometimes I just want to talk to someone about
Mhm.
certain things, and even though I have mentors and teachers and all that, there's still it's community, right? It's the need for community, and in that community of which you've built and had together, you had trust in one another as well as the path you were on. So, I mean, that's fantastic. Really
Yeah.
fantastic. I was just going to ask you, what did you carry like forward from your Hollywood years, and what did you have to leave behind to become the women that you are now?
Yeah. I'll let you take that one, Amy.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I personally carried forward is the ability to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I was working on 40 movies at a time,
Right.
and they all had their own demands, and every single person that you were dealing with had to feel like they were the only person that mattered, and that was the only concern at the moment. And we'd be on tight deadlines and juggling things and shifting things around. I learned how to just, oh, okay, that's what we need to do. We got to figure out the steps to do it, and then we'll get it done, and then move on to the next thing. So I learned that. I learned that I am a strong person. Like, I can stand up to the titans of that industry and be tough. So when
Mm-hmm.
I need to be tough, I can still be tough. And I learned that something I always knew. It just reinforced that I and Nancy and I are creative people who were born into a creative family, and that creativity is the most important element of a a career path for the two of us. So creating things matters. The things that it's taken me a long time to leave behind are, along with being tough, was I personally decided that I needed to be one of the guys. I needed to shut off everything about me that was feminine
Mm.
and fit in. And I needed, if a guy in the room noticed that I was the girl in the room, that was the worst thing that could happen for me, because it would set me back 6 months. And then I'd
Wow.
have to try and get back to the place where they forgot I was the girl in the room and treated me like one of the guys. So I didn't realize until years after I left, like, oh, I don't know what it's like to be a girl, to have female. I had some female friendships that were very wonderful and that I'm very fortunate for. And I always
Right.
had my sisters. But to make connections with women, especially in business, was very difficult for me because I wasn't used to it. And when I did encounter women, we just kind of ignored each other and let each other, because again, they didn't want to be the woman in the room either. So it was like,
Right.
if we're the two women sitting talking about women's stuff, then that's just going to draw attention. So I had to learn the most probably important lesson of my life, which is working with women. Building a community of women is the most special thing that anybody could possibly do, and having those connections have completely transformed my life to the
Mm.
wonderful space that it is now, where I just have this, I've always had my Nancy and my other sisters and my brother as my internal support system. Nancy and I have wonderful partners, but to have this sisterhood of women who are there for
Mm-hmm.
us is something I never in a million years imagined I would ever have. And so that is as far from what I experienced in my early career as I could possibly be. And I'm just so grateful that I'm here now and not there.
Yeah, wow, what a ride. I mean, I know what you're talking about with regards to the being the girl, the woman in the room, and also too, unfortunately, the whole thing around women competing with one another, right? Which is, that industry is all that for sure. Absolutely. So what parts of yourselves, surprised you in the process of this reinvention? Like, were there any surprises?
It's funny, I've been telling this story a little bit lately. I, for the first time in my life, realized I'm a leader.
Oh, okay. Fabulous.
Never never occurred to me. I have spent most of my life as a solopreneur. I've run small companies, I've had theater companies, so I've had staff and actors and things, but I just never really embraced that term, and I think most recently I realized it was because it's such a very masculine. The way we imagine a leader, we imagine a politician or, a military leader or something like that, and I I recently was told that, "No, you're leading this community," and I was like, "No, I'm not. kind of created this space for women to, and it's like, no, I'm a leader. So I think that surprised me the most because I'm a quite introverted, shy person, and I really don't think of myself that way at all. But we have built this beautiful community, and we're leading it by example. And it has taken on a life of its own because of the tone we've set for it.
Right?
So yeah, that was very surprising to me.
Well, nice surprise though, right? I mean, really, it's a wonderful surprise. And, with all this, when you do, listening to other women's stories, storytelling has become, it always has been such a powerful tool in transformation work, right? So how is, listening to other women's story changing or helping you heal along the way here?
Oh, it's the key to the whole thing. I mean, like Nancy said, we started with a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
the Passionistas Project podcast. That led to a women's equality summit, which we do virtually every year. We have one coming up on August 26th, and it's called Power of Passionistas, Awakening Your Power.
Oh,
And it's,
we'll have to talk about that, please.
yeah,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it's in conjunction with an anthology book that we're putting out where women are telling their stories of stepping into their power. The summit, we would have this summit every year, and really the focus of the summit has always been bringing women from marginalized communities together.
Mm-hmm.
We do a storyteller panel with a group of women, and then they have a conversation about whatever the theme is for the day. So we would have these beautiful summits, and then nothing would happen. We'd have this big social media following, but it wouldn't get traction in social media. And so this community is really also born out of that desire to keep the conversation going.
Okay.
So we welcome women from marginalized communities, everything from women of color to LGBTQ women and non-binary people, women over 50, Indigenous women, API. It's just this beautiful mix of a variety of women from different communities. And listening, we posted this over the last few months because, people have different opinions, and it's actually a very incredible space where they really respect, like, somebody thinks differently than me, and I'm not jumping down their throat about it like you're used to on social media.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a post one day that was like, now is a time especially for us to be listening. If someone from this community tells you this is the experience they're having, listen to that. Don't assume you know what it's like to be a Black woman in Australia in the year 2025. Don't assume you know what it's like to be a Latina person who lives in the South.
Right.
So as a result, people are getting to know each other on a really human level, just because it's business development, personal growth, and social impact. So people may be connecting on the possibility of doing a business collaboration together and getting to know each other and really liking each other, and then realizing, oh, there might be this thing that part of your experience I don't understand. Tell me about it. And so they're really learning about other cultures and other experiences by being a part of this community. And we have been the biggest beneficiaries of that because we get to talk directly to these women all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When we started the Passionistas Project, we weren't that engaged in social issues. But the more we met women with disabilities and realized the things that they have to deal with and the struggles they're having, now we're disability rights activists, and we do everything we can to help women in the disability community.
Oh,
Or
wow.
when we learned that the women only get 2% of venture capital funding for their businesses, we started to create a microeconomy within the Passionistas Project Sisterhood where women could buy from each other, so that anybody, if you're looking for a coach, we have coaches. If you're looking to buy coffee from a woman-owned coffee company, we know that person. So
Mm-hmm.
we've learned so much about what women are going through,
Right.
that it's opened us to just try and always want to figure out ways to be more supportive of women in every way we can. And we're seeing that ripple effect now in the community as well, which is really amazing.
Yeah, well, that's what, leading is all about, right? And mentoring and just being there as a role model, really. It's wonderful. I mean, women, we so need one another. We really, really need one another. And I was going to ask you, especially because of what you do and as sisters and co-creators, how do you hold space for both the practical and the sacred, really, the business and the soul work?
Yeah. That's a challenge for us. It's really difficult, I think, and I think a lot of women go through that. We had a really hard time and took a long time for us to get comfortable with the fact that it's okay
Hmm.
to charge money and to
Hmm.
make a profit on helping people.
Right.
And we finally got to the point where we realized that if we need to be sustainable, we need to be able to keep this going, and the only way to do that is to make the money to keep us going. So we finally feel comfortable. We still have a hard time asking, and we still have a hard time promoting things, and we have women in our community who are always nudging us and egging us on, but it is very difficult. But I think the conclusion we have come to is that if we thrive, everyone in our community will thrive, and so we are doing it for them. We're not
Mhm.
taking advantage of anyone. You know, we're not trying to steal money from anyone or take advantage. We're just trying to help people, and in order to do that, we need to make money in order to sustain the business.
Mhm. And your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
ultimately, hopefully, build a business that allows us to hire more women so
Mhm.
that we can help them thrive. We have an affiliate program because if someone brings a member to us, we want to make sure they benefit from that. It's a recurring commission that they get for the lifetime of that member. So we're always trying to figure out ways like as we grow and as we become bigger, we want to make sure that we're lifting up the community while we're doing that.
Oh,
Mhm.
And
wonderful.
we also give scholarships every time someone signs up for an annual membership, a
Mhm.
premium membership, which costs, $500 a year. We give a scholarship to a woman who can't afford that.
Right.
So even when if someone, buys the product, we are giving something away because we never want someone to feel like they can't be a part of the community because they can't afford it financially.
Yeah, well, and it all comes back, right? I mean, it's all about give and take.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's why I keep saying to people, we have two hands, one for giving, one for receiving. Absolutely, right? So how does living a passion driven life feel in your own body and your relationships and especially now like your nervous system compared to your previous chapter?
Right. I think the thing for me is my nervous system, the sisterhood is the place where I can breathe and calm down.
Mhm.
Get
Mhm.
out sisterhood and the world is swirling, that's where my anxiety levels go up, but I come back into the sisterhood because every time we have a conversation with someone or every time somebody leads a workshop in our community or we do a podcast interview, there's always a message that comes through that's the message I needed to hear right in that moment. So, and we have so many women who lead us through breathing exercises and meditations and beautiful things like that that help keep us grounded and feed
Mm.
our soul so that when the anxiety of the world gets too much, we know where to go to calm it down.
It's
Yeah, and
wonderful.
I've always been the person with the monkey brain who's just like da, 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 constantly churning. And Nancy's always like, how do you have so many thoughts in your head at one moment? But I've always been really, and again, going back to that, like leaving Warner Brothers, how are we going to make money, and those concerns. In the last 7 or 8 months, I have been the calmest I've ever been.
Wonderful.
And I realize that it's not because things aren't falling apart. I feel like a cartoon, like I'm walking down like Mr. Magoo, like I'm walking down the street and everything I'm doing is causing like the buildings to fall behind me and the cars are crashing and the fire hydrants exploding. But I'm just Magooing it and walking down the street. And I realize it's because I know that there are all these people who have my back.
Hmm.
And we started the sisterhood in kind of a time of confusion in the States and shifting. The world was shifting a bit, and we didn't really know a lot of people. And now we know somebody that does pretty much anything. We know people that know about healthcare and women's health. We know people that are financial people that know how to help you protect yourself financially. We know people who help people get jobs. We know people who have we know a woman who has the only urban flour mill in the United States. So if we need to
Oh,
go get
wow.
some wheat, we can go get some wheat. Like
Right.
we now have at our fingertips resources for anything that we could possibly imagine that might be of concern to us. And we know all these women who, if we called them tomorrow and said, "We're in trouble, we need your help," they would rally.
Oh,
And it's what keeps me calm. Like a week ago, I'm like, why am I calm? I should be freaking out right now. I should be in full meltdown mode 24 hours a day. And I'm like, because the Passionistas have my back. I'm going to
exactly.
be fine.
It's
It's
fabulous.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rare too. You know, it
Yeah.
it really is in the bigger picture of the entire world, that kind of community where you have all of that and all that alignment and people willing to and being there for all that it's rare. I mean,
Well,
it's not impossible, I know, but it's rare. So,
and it's not just me and Nancy that
right.
I feel that way for. I've seen them help each other. We've helped people. I've seen like everybody rally around someone that really needs support.
Mhm.
And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we're so
Fantastic.
grateful for the women that have come into this space because they're the ones that make it what it is. And we're really lucky.
And they are undoubtedly very grateful to you for, creating and leading this and doing this because, like I say, it's rare and it's needed for women, truly, truly needed. So I'm wondering, can you share I don't know, a story from your podcast or one of your summits that truly just really opened your heart or changed the way, you see your own mission?
Yeah. We actually we have a show on Passionistas TV. It's called The Graceful Revolution, and it's
Okay.
led by Dr. Melissa Bird, who is one of our Power Passionistas. Our Power Passionistas are the experts in our community, and they're very actively involved in the community. They do workshops and TV shows, and they're really there to support women in the community. And yesterday, Dr. Melissa Bird did a beautiful episode about being an Indigenous woman in the United States,
Mm,
uh, and the history of how brown people are treated in this country. And it was absolutely gorgeous. It was just her speaking to the camera, and by the end, she was sobbing, and everyone who was
Mm.
watching it or was sobbing. I know I was. And it's just so powerful to hear her personal story and the history that we are not told and we are not
right.
taught. And and to just really hear that experience and really, really listen. And it just opened up my mind even further to something that we've had many conversations with her about. I'm aware of the issues, I'm aware of the history, but to hear her tell her personal story just brought it that much deeper. Like you said in your introduction about really going deep, this
Hmm.
really, and it was really, really powerful. And I know we're going to post some of it on social and other places because everybody needs to hear this story. It's so beautiful.
Wow. So where can one watch this? I mean, I'm glad you're going to be posting it, but like the
Yeah.
TV of which you spoke about.
Yeah. So Passionistas TV is part of the sisterhood. It's part of the
Okay.
premium membership. If you sign up for the premium membership,
Right.
you have access to all of our TV shows. Um,
Fabulous.
And this particular episode, we actually are gonna post in the free part of the Passionistas Project because it's so important that everyone hears this episode. So as
Hmm.
a free member of the sisterhood, you can go probably by early next week, go and hear this story.
Oh, wonderful. This is
Yeah.
great. I love it. I'm so excited. It's so needed. It's so needed. Absolutely wonderful. Um, so, with regards to sort of talking about career and purpose and social change, how do you see personal fulfillment and social impact working hand in hand?
It's really interesting. All of the women in our community are entrepreneurs or artists, or some of them are activists, they're thought leaders. They're women who are independent. They're not, for the most part, although women from the business world actually are drawn to it as well, because they have to present the like, I've got everything under control
Mm,
face, right? When they're at
mhm.
work. And here they can come and they can be vulnerable and they don't have to worry about someone going, you don't know what you're doing. But for the most part, the women are independent and they're out there doing it on their own. And and so I totally forgot your question.
You were
Oh,
you were gonna say that they're the kind of people that when you have a
Yes.
conversation with them, they
Yeah.
ask, "What can I do for you?"
Yeah. And so they're all really they're they're doing what they're doing, even if it's a business, they're doing it because they want to create a business that's going to make someone else's life easier. Or they've created a 501(c)(3), or they're a practitioner that does tapping or meditation or hypnosis, that are all like, everybody comes from this place of wanting to build
mhm,
a better world. And so we're really lucky that we're able to kind of straddle this line between the work that's being done and the self-care that we all need. Because we were finding, as we were interviewing women, that we would say, what do you do for self-care? And they would just blank out. Like, they know none of these high achieving or really motivated women were taking any time for themselves.
wow.
But they all also had this element of what their life, their balance in their life, where they were giving back in some way. And again, like, some of them have founded 501(c)(3)s and are doing something really specific. And a lot of them are just out there trying to make the world a better place in some way. And
Mhm,
so for us, it goes hand in hand. Like, I can't separate what we do in the sisterhood from my feelings on the world and social impact, and the ability to be of service. And I feel like that's kind of the general feeling of the women in the community too. Like, I built this business so that I can give back to these people, or I built this business to ease the discomfort of this community. And so, as a result, again, the women in our community tend to really, it's why social impact was critical to us when we built the community. And I think one of the things that really separates us from other communities, this is not just a business networking site.
right.
You can come, and I promise you, you can find women to collaborate. The business collaborations that are happening are amazing, and there's
Mhm,
tons of them. And the women are really connecting on that level. But the heart of it, and what makes the women there so unique, is that social impact is key to everybody's personality. And I think it's what makes it really a beautiful space.
hmm. Well, so I'm wondering, why do you feel our passion has to serve larger than ourselves?
I don't think it necessarily does.
Oh, okay.
I think if you're following your passion,
Mhm.
you're making the world a better place, because
Ah,
even if you're just impacting yourself and the people immediately around you,
right.
you're improving the world, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
you don't have to run for office, or, be the dean of a college, or, to have impact on people, and you can change just the people immediate or impact just the people immediately around you.
Mhm.
I think that's part of what the message is for us, is there's lots and lots of different ways to make a difference. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And right now in our world, sometimes just a smile,
Yeah,
just a
absolutely.
simple smile. And, I see a lot of memes around, be kind, yeah. And whoever thunk it before in, my generation's mini. that I would have to be told, be kind, because I grew up.
Remind people to smile and be nice, right?
I know, right? But it's true. That's just the way it is. So it is a good reminder because sometimes people just can't find a smile within themselves and they're hurting. So I totally agree. I'm wondering, you've got the summit and the book and your future. So tell us, you know, oh, I'm excited about the upcoming Passionista Summit and your new anthology. And what truth are you hoping to awaken in women through this next offering?
Well, the summit is August 26th through 28th.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 days. It's all virtual, so anyone from all over the world can come. And we have 3 storyteller events. So there are women, these are the authors from the book that are telling their stories on video. And then we're having roundtable discussions with them. And then we have some workshops in the afternoon, some presentations on all sorts of various topics from a woman who's in the Asian AAPI community, a woman who's in the Black community, a woman in the disability community. So we have a lot of great presentations in the afternoons. And then Tuesday evening, we are screening a film called There Has to Be Something More Than This. And it's made by a woman who survived the Boston Marathon bombing. Her name is Jen Hoffman.
Okay.
And then on Thursday night, we're still locking in our Wednesday night event, but on Thursday night, we have our Passionistas Persist Awards, which we give every year. And we can't reveal the awardees yet, but they're amazing. But the whole point of this summit this year is awakening your power. And it's really getting to the essence of storytelling and why telling your story is important. And all of the women have written chapters in the book. And the stories range from a woman who jumped out of an airplane to a woman who stood up to her commanding officer when she was engineer in the army to a woman who has survived a narcissistic marriage. So and they're all amazingly beautiful stories. And the idea is just to inspire other women to tell their story and to realize that their story matters, their voice matters, and that they are powerful.
Wow. What a wonderful summit that is going to be. And how can people reach you to do this?
The easiest way is to go to thepassionistasproject.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us, our socials there. You can join the sisterhood there. You can sign up for the summit there. So that's the best place. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the normal places at the Passionistas Project.
Okay. And I will definitely be posting information for your contacts as well. So we'll get that covered for sure when this goes out. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'd also love to add that there is a free tier of the membership. So people can come, they can sign up for free, and they can start to connect with other women. They can share their projects. They can, be promoting their businesses. So there's an upgraded level that we mentioned with the Passionistas TV and more networking events and things like that. But there is a free community that people can come and check out if they're just curious and not ready to upgrade yet.
Oh, what a wonderful gift, because sometimes people just want to put their foot into the water to see if it's a little warm or a little cold. And then
the water is warm
before they dive in, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know exactly what that's like, because I know for our listeners now, because they are yours as well, there are diehard, I mean, people who are always listening because they want the depth. They really do, and then some people come and they skip but sometimes they come back. So it's all good. So, we're getting close to closing here, but I was going to ask you words of wisdom for the women the women listening now, and the one who knows it's time to leave what no longer aligns, but is really terrified. And what truth would you want to share for her to hear right now?
I think she needs to hear she's not alone, that there are other people who have gone through what you are going through.
Right.
And find some of those people. Find one of those people. Find a person. Find a sister, blood or chosen, to hold your hand and guide you through it, because there are people who know what you're going through and can help you. So you're not alone. That's what they need to know.
Yeah, and I would add to that one thing we've learned in recent years is that people actually like it when you ask them for help. We used to think, oh, we don't want to be an imposition. We don't want to bother them. But when you ask someone for help, they feel like you value their opinion. They feel like they think I am an expert on this, or that I have some information that would be of value to them. And people in general, the people that you want to know are the kind of people that want to give back as much as they get. Like you said, we have two hands. And so it's scary to ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
but just know that 9 times out of 10, the person you're asking is going to be you're giving them a gift by asking them for help. They want to be helpful. So don't be so afraid to ask for help. Don't let it hold you back.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 1,000,000,000%, because that's been one of my hardest lessons in life, is to ask. And when I've asked it, I've been astounded at, wow, you're right. People want to help. And when people ask me, I want to help.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I want to share. I want to share. You can do what you want with what I share, but I want to share. And if it helps somebody, for even a second, let alone maybe years to follow, I go, yeah, well, life's work well done. So, yeah, it just is. I am so excited to have you both here. I'm so excited to share you with our audience. I am so excited to join your community, because I'm going to.
Good. We're so glad. We're just going to say, please do.
I'm
Yes.
going to. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's times prayers are answered, and, you're an answer to a prayer I have been speaking. So I'm truly blessed and truly honored, and I'm so excited to get this out for everyone. So thank you, ladies, so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day and week, and I will be sending you the link very soon.
Wonderful.
So,
Thank you so much for
blessings.
having
Thank
us.
you so
Yes,
much.
you too.
Yeah, take
Have a
care.
great day.
Yeah, you
Bye.
too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.